bleeding over everything. Didn't think much of it. You go home. Yeah, it's happened before. You go home and you got a little burning sensation down there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm married, so I know I wasn't out being with people I shouldn't have been with. So I knew that I knew it wasn't any of that. It wasn't like I was going to take a penicillin shot and get rid of it. But so the burning didn't go away. And then at the time I was married to a doctor, and I was like, hey, this sensation's not going away.
Yeah.
And well, what ended up happening is when you have a tube and you stick like a marble in it, it starts restricting blood flow. So what happened was I ruptured it, and so it started building up scar tissue in there. So the blood flow was getting restricted, so it started to narrow towards the tip like a Coke bottle.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like this thing, it's not small enough now. Like, now it's getting smarter, It's like, what happened, when you smash your thumb with a hammer, what happens? It swells up. Yeah, the opposite with that. It shrank. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was like, what a curse. So it was like, this is some bullshit.
Oh my God.
So
this has got to be my favorite podcast ever.
It's like, so everything else swells up except for that. So don't ever hurt that thing.
Right, got it.
And I don't even have a cool story. It's not like, my wife and I were, it was one of those nights, where I felt like I was King Kong and just, we were throwing down for like 3 hours. No, nothing like that. It was just being an idiot with the armbar. So what happened was my wife goes, okay, one of her colleagues is a I can't think of urologist.
Yeah.
So his name was Dr. Brito, nice guy, big, heavy set, like Italian guy. Like he looked like a mobster almost, big, thick fingers, which, so it starts narrow. So I go see him, and, this whole experience was just, of course. So one, you walk into a doctor's office, they tell you to disrobe, and they're always cold.
Yes.
Which is not flattering to us, so you walk in there, and then of course his assistant is hot.
Oh, no.
And I'm just like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to deserve this? This is a cruel joke. So I go in there. So now it's very not flattering, even more so.
Yeah.
And she's looking at it, and I'm just like, Jesus, could we just get this over with? And so he finally comes in. He's like, yeah, you got, he explains the cartilage and all this and that. And really all they can do, because I guess there's a disease out there that mimics it called Peyronie's disease, where it's a narrowing of the shaft, they call it. So he prescribed me Viagra for like 6 months. He goes, you got to take this every day. And I'm like, am I going to be walking around with a heart on every day? And, you learn pretty quick that's not how it works.
Okay,
but you take it. Obviously, you still have to be mentally stimulated for anything to walk, to work. But the idea is because it's a vasodilator, Viagra and all those other ones, so it gets blood to those blood vessels.
Yep.
So it's to get that blood in there and get that scar tissue out.
Oh, okay.
So the more blood you get in there, the more, the faster it'll heal. But it took a good 6-7 months of that to go back to normal.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it's like twice the size. It's amazing. I'm just kidding. No, it's none of that happened. Nothing cool like that happened. Doc. Where like Spider-Man, you're bit by a spider, you turn, you have all these superpowers. Yeah, none of that happened. No, it's like
there was no upside to the story.
Nothing. There's literally nothing. It just gets people a good laugh at me. It's
God.
It was terrible. Yeah. So you take Viagra for 6 months, and it kind of went back to normal after a while. But for like, I'm not exaggerating. It narrowed, as like drastically at the tip to where it looked like a Coke bottle.
Wow, that's wild, man.
Yeah, and
that's
not
scary,
not nearly the size of a Coke bottle.
Yeah, I hear you.
But so that was probably the one that was the weirdest.
That's the weirdest. Yeah, I've never heard of that, so that is the weirdest.
Yeah. So to all the listeners, however many's listening to them, don't fight those arm bars so much.
Squeeze with the knees, boys.
Yes, and try to get it off to the side of your stuff there.
I actually teach it that way.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, I wish my instructor had. I should have been training with you back then, because it would have saved me a lot of headache and a lot of embarrassment.
So the way I kind of explain things, you got to talk about it, right?
Sure.
It's the groin.
Oh yeah.
So
tell them my story then.
Yeah. So what I'll tell them is a couple things. Like I'll say, I move it off to the side, towards the legs, never towards the head. So I move it off to the side, and I said, because there's a lot of soft tissue and it hurts. You know what I mean? So that's how
Mostly
I describe
soft.
Yeah. And there was another one like going from like standing in front of somebody's guard, you push the knees through and you go directly to mount.
Oh yeah.
And I tell them, I was like, you've got to clear those knees because you'll get like, what did I call it? I said instant feedback if you don't.
Yeah, there's no waiting on the feedback there.
No.
And some of you need more clearance than others.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't need all that much, so I just slide right over.
Just
but
right over.
Yeah.
Oh
But,
my gosh.
Yeah,
man.
those are the kind of injuries that you're just like, really, dude? This is a cruel joke.
Yeah.
It was interesting. And then the ending of that story is actually the same day that he was checking me out. I don't mean to keep looking down there.
That's
by the
okay.
way. Just have you're like, what are you doing? Like you're staring down at this area. It's like, it's just part of it.
Totally good.
But to go back to size of a man he was.
Yeah.
As I'm disrobed there, now his assistant had left at the time. He's like, hey, why don't you just turn around? We'll go ahead and check you for prostate and all this stuff.
No,
he just assumed I was just going to agree with it. And he was right because I did. I was like, okay, next thing I know, I was leaning over this table of his, and this guy had fingers that were as big as this water bottle, it felt like. And it was not fun. Like, I just remember, like, I was like, what is happening? Like, what? How did we go from this to this? Like, it was like a nightmare. I was like, what is that? This guy's a great salesman. Like, I was like, I need to hire this guy. He was amazing, and it was like just nothing to him. It's like,
my God,
my ex-wife, she was a gynecologist, so she was in there dealing with women's parts and stuff all day long, and I used to joke with her, hey, when's take your husband to work day? Because we as guys we think it's like Playboy Playmates and stuff. No, it's none of that. It's like they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with him, he was the same way. That was just a thing.
That's a thing.
It's like not even a thought to him. It's like you and I just putting your belt on to go train. It's like it's what you do. And he's like, no, just turn around. And he was in there like with no hesitation. As soon as my elbows hit the thing, I was like, ugh. I was just like, okay. And it was just afterwards, and I don't know. I just felt a little weird. He didn't even hug me afterwards and nothing. I was just kind of like, it was just so. Just nonchalant to him. I was a little hurt actually.
Have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
No, everybody keeps asking me if I've seen that. That's with John Goodman, right?
Yeah. So there's a scene in the movie where the actor there, I can't remember, not Jeff Daniels. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he goes to the doctor because somebody sent him to get checked out because he had been hit in the face or something like that. And the doctor walks in. He goes, okay, well, drop your pants. He's like, nah, she hit me right here, man.
It was like in the chin. It's like, yeah, I want to take your pants off. Anyway, like, what the hell? Like, it's kind of how I felt like. I was like, I mean, it was a little closer there, but it was like complete opposite sides. Like, he was just like, flip the coin. I was like,
oh my God.
And the funny thing is I did it. I did exactly what he told me. It's like, I didn't put up a fight. Like, I would have been that little kid, with the creepy van that drove through the neighborhood. Hey, kid, you want some candy? I'd have been like, okay, what kind of candy you got? Next thing you know, I'd have been in the van in a dungeon somewhere. Yeah,
God.
I just did what I was told.
That's hilarious, man.
That was my worst injury.
Yeah,
a very long-winded version of it.
No, that's a bad one, dude. What about coaching? You coach some classes, right?
Not as much as I used to.
Okay.
So I used to teach the MMA class that we used to do on Friday nights, and then I did a jiu-jitsu class too. We started as a gi, and then it kind of morphed into no gi stuff. But we now, because of my work schedule and stuff like that, I don't really. It's hard for me to get this same day off every week.
Yeah.
So which was part of the reason you and I had a little bit of a scheduling conflict here was. Some like last week I had Wednesday, Thursday off. This week I just have Tuesday off. Wow. Next week I got Monday, Tuesday off. So it's just kind of all over the place. So it's hard for me to say, okay, I need every Tuesday off to teach a class. So occasionally I'll fill in for a Monday class or something like that, but not nearly as much as I used to.
Okay.
So it was fun. I like it sometimes.
Yeah. And what was your style of coaching? Like, I always ask this question because I'm curious because, again, in my little bubble, what I like to do is, I like to take a systematic approach to my coaching. So we literally stay on the subject for a month, unless it's like kind of a quick hitter, maybe 2 weeks, but I like to stay on something for a month. And the reason I do that is I want to be able to have like white belts in the class and black belts in the class and keep them all engaged. Mm-hmm. So we'll start off with the very, very fundamental, like, hey, this is a grip or this is the entry to this move, all the way to counters at the end of the month. Do you do something similar to that?
I think that's a great approach, actually. We've done it both ways. So we had the systematic part of doing that where we would not maybe a month, but like for all week long,
Yep.
all of the instructors, because we have like 10 different instructors
Wow.
doing different stuff. So to get them all on the same page to do that was pretty complicated. So we try to get them all. So this week we're doing basic armbar, from guard or whatever. And so we tried to do that for a little while, and it just got a little kind of wonky to try to keep everybody on the same page. I even did it when I was doing my MMA stuff. Like I would try to do the month-long thing. The problem that I found with that was it kind of slowed the progression a little.
Okay.
Because although you got that move dialed in super tight, it made it a little slower to progress to the, like the evolution of like a different position or something like that. And because the problem is, as you know and everybody knows, is getting all of the same people to the classes all the same time. It's like if you and I were going to do this podcast, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, we know who's here, we know who's not. It's you and I, and that's what it is. Whereas, tomorrow you got different guys. So you're like, oh, well, you didn't see last night's shit, so we got to go back and do that. So it just became kind of hard. But I like the systematic aspect of it. I think I think it's probably the best way.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too. And like you said, you do lose a little bit of that variety throughout the year. But man, if you can get people dialed into a system or two, good to go.
I agree, especially if it's like basic stuff. Because we've had students. I think every school has students where the guy he's got crazy sick armbar or whatever triangle setups and all this shit, but he couldn't pass your guard to save his life. You're just like, okay, yeah, you watched a bunch of YouTube videos, but you can't pass a guard. Yeah, so I think there's a great approach to that with that kind of stuff. So
I'll have students ask me like, hey coach, can you show me this whatever choke whatever cool like complex guard. I was like, how about escape mount?
Yeah,
let's work on that.
Mount? Yeah. I know, I love that too. They're like, hey, I'd like to do this like roll under omoplata to triangle armbar. And you're like, can you escape a mount? He's like, well, no. How long you been training? A month. Oh, okay. Well,
let's work on that.
Let's start there. Yeah.
Or let's get you physically fit first.
Yes,
right?
yes. My guitar teacher told me that you got to slow down to go faster.
I love that.
But I didn't, when you're 15 years old, that's not the shit you want to do because you're seeing all the guys on TV. I wanted to be that right then. That's when I first started jiu-jitsu. I wanted to be, Royce, or whoever the badasses were. But I wanted that then. I've always been very impatient. So that's probably my biggest problem.
Hey, have you seen there was a documentary, gosh, I can't remember. I think it might be on Amazon about Randy Rhoads.
No, I saw it. I saw
you would love
the thing, but I haven't watched it yet.
You would love it. As a musician, I'm not a musician, and I dug it because he was very much a student of of music. He's very much a student.
Oh, of music.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's a scene where there's I think it was his brother or one of his close friends was talking about his music teacher, his first music teacher that his mom hired to teach him. I think he had just picked up an electric guitar. He started out with like a very traditional, acoustic guitar. Yeah. And I think maybe 3 months in, his teacher came up to his mom and said, "Hey, I can't teach your son anymore." And she's like, "Why not?" He says, "He's way better than I am now."
Oh wow!
And he's teaching me stuff, so it's just not fair. Yeah. So he was like, I think you would really like that.
Oh, I have to watch that now. I wouldn't expect that with Randy.
Yeah, he was
a musician.
Yeah, he was a very, very, I mean, that's all he did. Just like your dedication to jiu-jitsu early on, that's all he wanted to do was play guitar. It's really cool, man.
Well, I remember, someone asked me the other day, and they're like, "How come you don't open a school?" And I go, "Well, I wanted to when I first started, and that was the goal. It's like, oh man, as soon as I get my black belt, I'm gonna open a school, and it's gonna be awesome." And then the closer I got to it, seeing all the stuff that you guys got to go through, like with Nathan, like the heartache of guys who train with you for a year and then quit or bounce to another school or just all of that, the headaches of trying to retain students, trying to get new students, like
it's hard,
like all of that shit. Like, because I'm friends with a guy named Mike Martin up north who runs Strongheart.
Okay.
Well, he and I have been kind of sparring together since we were purple belts. Because he was, my hardest part was I lived in North Scottsdale and I worked over on the west side, so I drove over there. So to get to my school was getting a lot more difficult. So I asked Nathan, I'm like, "Hey, do you mind if I swing in and just get some rolls with this guy?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I was doing that with Mike. He got his black belt under Joe Morera, and been doing that with him for the longest time, and it's been great.
Yeah, you still train with him now?
Occasionally, not because I live in Gilbert now, so I live not too far from you.
Oh man, yeah, that's right.
So to drive all the way out there is like 45, 50 minutes to train. But one of my really good friends who I've been friend with before I even did jiu-jitsu, his name's Chris Tilden. I kept telling him, I'm like, you need to start doing jiu-jitsu. Like, you have to start doing it. And he goes, well, I'm not driving, because we were down on Thomas 24th Street. He wasn't going to drive all that way. I was like, then go to this. There's a school right over here. At least go somewhere. Yeah. I want you to train somewhere. And he's been with him ever since. He's white. He just got his black belt like 2 months ago or something. And, you know, so it's been good.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I actually, I took my first jiu-jitsu class at Rough House.
Oh, nice. Yeah. With, what's his name?
Arthur Ruff.
Arthur.
Well, Arthur wasn't there. Gerson was teaching for him. Gerson was a brown belt at the time.
I love that guy.
He's a great guy.
I've never heard anybody say anything bad about that guy.
Dude, he is awesome. Like, he's the real deal, man.
It's not like, oh, he's cool. It's always like, he is amazing. Like, we love that guy. Like, everybody loves that guy to death.
And I'm trying to get him on the podcast, but he's a moving target.
Yeah, but, I'm sure he's busy.
Yeah. But so all I did was like, one of your teammates, Kevin Bunyan.
Oh, I know Kevin. Yeah.
Nursing school with Amy, my wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Kevin and his ex-wife were in nursing school with Amy. We hung out. We went to baseball games, went to dinners and stuff. Cool. Kevin wouldn't shut up about jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
And I'm sitting there like, if I got to listen to this shit one more time. But Kevin was a reason why when I decided to get back into shape, I just Googled Jiu-Jitsu Mesa, Arizona.
Really?
Yes. Kevin
Bunyan.
I had
no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin never brought that up ever.
Yeah. Kevin's he's the reason I do jiu-jitsu.
What? Yes. I had no idea. His son is my bully.
Is he?
Kid Colin? Yeah.
Oh,
that
Colin,
kid, when he was a little kid, he's
yeah.
bigger now, but that kid used to walk up to me because I like to mess with kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like I walk by and nudge him with my shoulder, like, what? So I'm the biggest prankster in my school. Like I talk the most shit. I play with people.
I love it.
You know, the girls I'll walk by, I'll stick my finger in their ear or something, you know, or we have this girl who just competed. She's 16, and you know, I walk by, I'll bump her with my shoulder, and be like, "That's right." You know, that's what I did. She's just like, "You want to fight?" I'm like, "No." And I just walk off. But Colin, he walks up to me, and when we were kids, and he'd be like, "I can beat you up." I got videos in my phone. You can see where we got pictures of, you know, when I was sparring, like he's trying to kick me and stuff, and he's always walking around telling me he's going to beat me up and this and that.
Oh my gosh!
I hadn't seen him in like 2 years because of COVID. I saw him the first time a month ago, maybe that. We have a little room in our gym we put some arcade games in there for the kids.
Cool.
So the kids can play in there while their parents are training.
Yeah.
Colin's in there, and I walk by and I see him in there, and I'm like, oh my God, this kid's huge now.
Yeah.
Doesn't say hi, doesn't say shit. Walks up to me, Alex, I'm not bullshitting. He walks up to me and just starts trying to grab him. I go, bro, what are you doing? Like I haven't seen you in like 2 or 3 years, and you don't say hi. How you been? It's like, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm like, what the hell with this kid?
That's
he's
so funny,
that kid.
Man.
Kevin will tell you that kid's my bully. He's always trying to bully me. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's just always working me over. I'm like, this little kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but Kevin is the reason why I Googled Jiu-Jitsu in Mesa, Arizona.
That is crazy. I had no idea. He's never said that.
Yep. So Rough House was a mile and a half from here. I loved it. Great people. But then I checked out Paul Nava's place, and I didn't know this, but they were getting ready for Pans at the time.
Okay.
So I walked in, and it was like intense, dude, intense. And they were just like, you know, buddy carries and dragging each other across the mat and sprints. And then, you know, they were doing like situational drills, and I'm like, this is crazy. The windows were foggy.
Steamed over. Yeah, those are good classes.
Yeah, and I'm like, you walk in, you feel like the, you know.
It's like you're in a sauna.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
And I just thought, well, if this place doesn't kill me, I'm going to get in pretty good shape. And my next stop was going to be Gustavo Dante's because they were right down the street in Tempe. And well, then I found out Paul got his black belt from Gustavo. I'm like, I'll just stick around here. And I've been with Paul ever since. Yeah. That's
great.
Yeah, white to black belt with Paul.
Yeah, and what, 4 years, 5 years?
Just under 7 years. Just shy of 7.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice, good job.
That was no days off. That's, you know,
7 days a week.
Sometimes, mostly 5 days a week. But like what I did, I'm really competitive with myself. So I would find somebody in the academy that I knew was better than me, and I would watch what they do.
That's smart.
Right? So I would watch what they, not only would I watch what they do, I watch what they didn't do. So I was like, okay, so how do I close this gap between me and that guy? Right? And I'm old, dude. Like I'm, trying to compete with these young guys.
I'm older than you.
Yeah.
Calm down.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'll be 49 in July.
Okay, so I'll be 50 in 2 weeks.
I thought you were like 44 or something.
Nah, bro. I'm 49.
Somebody lied to me then. Someone goes, oh, Paul might have lied to me. Because I remember talking to him and he said, yeah, he's like 44 or something. Paul's trying to fuck with my head. That's it. I get what's going on now. It's psychological warfare. I didn't even know I was involved in at the time. I'm like,
that's hilarious.
What the hell? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be 50. I'll be 50 on October 28th.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, there goes that excuse. I go, oh, well, he's younger. So
yeah. But
check you out.
Yeah. So then, so what I did was I would watch, like, we had guys that would compete and then they would ramp up for a tournament really hard and then take like 2 weeks off. I was like, well, if I show up on Monday after the tournament, I got 2 weeks on them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that was my mentality. I just show up on Monday.
Smart. It's
no
a very
matter what.
analytical approach to it.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, and then, those gaps started getting smaller and smaller. Some people I never caught, but I got better better for me.
That's a great way to approach it. That's what I used to tell my son when my son started. I said, look, I don't want you training with other white belts. I want you training with the blue belts and the purples and stuff like that. Not heavier guys, just better guys.
Great advice.
But he would get frustrated because, Dad, they're just kicking my ass all the time. I go, I know, but when you go to a tournament and you fight a guy at your level, you're going to steamroll that guy because you're used to fighting guys and defending their shit at a way higher level than this kid's going to be able to do. And for the longest time, he was tearing up the tournament scene. Yeah. Just doing very well. He wasn't into it like I was. Sure. Looking back, I was a little harder on him, I think, than I probably should have been. As I get older, I'm like, you probably shouldn't, because I was, just saturated with it. Like all I wanted to do was train. Like I didn't give a shit about anything else. Yeah. I literally have passed up a couple promotions at work because they would have messed with my training schedule.
Yeah, I actually passed up a job opportunity because of jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It was like, I got to change my whole life for this? Yeah. Not happening.
Yeah, unless it's like just, nuclear amounts of money, it's it just wasn't worth it to me. I was like, okay, so make another, couple grand a month or something, but to me
it's not life-changing.
Yeah, to me the training is for my mental state, it was way better.
Yeah, I think you and I are very much alike in that, I love the process, and I know you do too, man. Yeah. The training, the grinding, and all that stuff. Yeah. And what I appreciate about you very much is not only that you whip my ass, but at the end of it, we're always talking about, I noticed you did this, and, I noticed you did that. Maybe we should train together. We talked about that, right? And I'd love to make it work, man, because I get more nervous when I'm about to step on the mat against you than I did at Master Worlds. And remember, I was texting you from the bullpen at Master Worlds.
Were you?
Yes, I was texting you from the bullpen. I was like, why am I more nervous?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Well, it's funny you say that, and it's one thing when you're sitting in front of someone, you always have the guys that are like, patting each other back, you did great or whatever. No, but like legitimately, knowing that I'm going to be fighting you, it makes me, when I go to the gym, I started doing the bike. Yeah. I'm like, don't be a pussy. You're like, Alex, because I swear to you, I have this conversation with myself. I'm like, Alex is going to be there. Yeah. And then when I found out you did triathlons, I go, that motherfucker does triathlons? I go,
not
get
anymore.
Your fat ass on that bike. Like, I have this talk with myself. I'm like, get your little dumb ass over on that bike because he's not going to get tired. Yeah. And I see it in the videos with you. When I get up, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm tired. You're just like, let's go. I'm like, this fucking guy. Yeah. This guy.
well, and the other thing that I appreciate is like, before, like hours before the competition when we're coaching or whatever, it's all like, high fives and hugs and stuff.
I love that.
We get in the bullpen, it's business. We get on the mat, it's business. Once we leave, we're right back to bullshitting and high-fiving. And I love that, dude. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And that's what I love about jiu-jitsu. And I tell my wife that, like I was telling you earlier, like she makes fun of me all the time. I go, I just don't know of any other sport you can do that. Like, even in boxing, guys beat each other up, and, and they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But you don't see like the genuine admiration and love for it afterwards, where it's like, dude, that was awesome. One of my students last night, the guy we're testing Saturday for his black belt. Yeah. His name's Cy. I outweigh his ass by probably 20 pounds. Yeah. And we get in these gnarly scrambles. And last night, he ended up inverting and going for this arm bar. And I mean, it was close.
Yeah.
And I had to stack him pretty hard. But afterwards, I wasn't like, fuck that guy. Like, I was like, dude, that was sick.
That was
like,
close.
I love that shit.
Yeah,
and I think it's part of the gym culture that you're at. There's some schools out there that we've talked about that are not like that.
Yeah.
There's one not too far from here that I would love to say the name to. And
I hear you.
give them a ration of shit. But I love the schools like yours and the fact that we have trained together once. But I would now that I know we're both going to Worlds, we should
100%.
We should make it
100%.
Because we're that bracket's probably going to be pretty large. And we probably won't end up meeting each other till hopefully in the finals.
Hopefully in the final.
It would be beneficial for us to train together.
Absolutely,
so
dude. I'd love it.
I'd be down 100%.
Yeah, I'll send you a snapshot of my training schedule. We see if we can make it work.
Yeah, and then where it's at, and then I would love to.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I got to get ready for a lifting session.
Speaking, I got to go do a triathlon.
But hey, listen, before I let anybody go, I got to ask you a list of lightning round questions.
Okay.
All right.
This is where I make myself sound stupid.
No. There's no wrong answers here. All right.
Hope you got a good editing button.
I do actually.
You're gonna need it with this one.
All right. So name a game show you think you can actually win.
Whack-a-mole. I don't know. Is that even a game show?
I don't know.
I don't watch game shows.
I don't know.
It probably wouldn't be Jeopardy.
Jeopardy's good. What's your favorite cheat meal?
Cheat meal would probably be tacos.
Okay. What's the longest you've gone without brushing your teeth?
2 days.
Nice. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, it'd probably be something stupid like Home Sweet Home from Molly Girl. Dude, it's hair bands. It's so embarrassing.
I love it. What's a dumb song you secretly like? Like you would never listen to in front of anybody, but you dig it.
Oh, it's probably Home Sweet Home from Motley Crue or something like that. Like it's so embarrassing to even admit that I listen to that shit, but can't help it.
Okay. Do you like to sleep in or take a nap?
Sleep in. I'm not a morning guy at all.
Right on. Do you, let's see, would you rather travel into the future or back in time?
Back in time, because I would, anybody in my opinion that says, throughout their life, there's nothing they would change, I think is a moron. I think because if you've been led a perfect life and they're like, oh, it's how I ended up where I am today, and well, you're an idiot, because I think I'm like, because there's so much shit that I would change in my life that would make me even better than where I am.
Yes.
Going back in time.
I love it. I love it. What is, I'm sorry, Rolling Stones or Elvis?
Elvis.
What's your favorite childhood TV show?
Probably G.I. Joe cartoons or something. Right. I don't know. Something stupid.
Well, listen, man. How can people find you? Give a little, maybe the website to your academy or Instagram account.
Yeah. So our school website is GracieArizona.com. We got a bunch of students there and like 20 black belts. So it's always fun to come in there and train. It's not in the best neighborhood, but we're cool.
That's okay. Maybe somebody will flash you and put it against the
maybe it'll be someone a little more attractive this time. No, but great people. GracieArizona.com. I think I don't even know what my Instagram thing is.
That's okay.
I just post on there.
I think it's DMoore 2000.
It's probably DMoore 22,000.
22,000.
That's my email too. So
gotcha.
I just made it the same.
That's
so
perfect.
Anyway,
that's perfect.
I need to get better at social media.
Right on. So. Well, hey everybody, if you like the podcast, if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at the BJJ Foxcast. We have a website that I put no time into, so I'm not going to talk about that. And follow us on our YouTube page. Please like, subscribe, and share. And Doug, thank you again for doing this, brother. Appreciate you.
It was fun.
Awesome.
I love the conversation.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.